Okay, today I'm in the Republic of San Marino, which is a country inside of the country of Italy. And this is one of the SCM factories where they manufacture the MiniMax line of products. And today I'm going to go into the factory and show you how they make all these machines. The whole factory is extremely efficient, and it's set up similar to what you would see in an automobile manufacturing plant, where there's all these assembly lines. And everything starts way down there at the beginning, which is where you'll find all the empty steel bodies, which SCM has actually manufactured just down the road in a different factory, where they take the raw steel and bend and shape it and drill it and then powder coat it before sending it over to this factory, where these skilled craftsmen can now start putting in all the motors and different components and then fine-tuning it and testing it before packaging it up and sending it out. Now, parallel to this assembly line is another assembly line where they're taking smaller components and assembling them into more complex components before they go to the large assembly line to go into the bigger machines. Right here, for example, you can see one of the workers lifting over one of the already assembled motor components for a shaper and installing it onto the shaper table. Or right here, they're working on one of the spiral cutter heads and pressing bearings onto each side before it gets sent over and installed into a larger component, which will then go into a planer or a jointer. Now, back over at the main assembly line, if you look down on the floor, you'll see that there's a track, which is actually an automated system that moves the machines with wheels down the track at a certain pace to keep up with the production goals. And in addition to the machines themselves, there's also these blue carts that follow the machines down the track that contain all the components that will go into the machine as it makes its way down the track. Here we see a planer that's already got the bed installed, and the worker is already fine-tuning it to make sure that it's just right before it moves down the line. Right beside the assembly line, you can also see that they've got a lot of the major components, and then the workers can easily just grab those components and move them over to the machine that they're working on. Like this big slide saw right here that the worker has just installed the slide component on, and now is just fine-tuning it so it's just in line with the tabletop and exactly parallel to the blade. Another thing you'll find right beside the assembly line are these racks of motors, which the workers can easily grab off the shelf and install into the machines, like into this bandsaw right here. As we move down the line, the machines then get hooked up to power so they can test and fine-tune all those components. Right here, for example, they're testing and fine-tuning the digital blade tilt and height adjustment. The worker uses this iPad to run through a series of tests to make sure that everything is perfect before it gets shipped out to customers, like testing to make sure that the tilt function works and is perfectly accurate, as well as verifying that the riving knife is perfectly in line with the blade and that the blade is perfectly in line with the scoring blade. And once the machines have gone through all their final quality control checks, they start to pack up all the extra components and assembly pieces that you'll need when it arrives at your shop. And then the machine gets all wrapped up and protected with this heat-activated shrink wrap, and then picked up by the forklift and taken over to the shipping bay, where it's then loaded onto semi-trucks and either trucked all over Europe or loaded into sea containers and taken down to the seaports, where it's loaded on cargo ships and sent over to places like North America.